Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are 1 week away from the Super Rugby final, and this one, the first of two semi-finals. It is a home game for the Blues. Of course, if they win this game and the Chiefs were to cause the upset in the next game up against the Hurricanes, would be a home final for the boys at Eden Park. But the Brumbies, the away side, they can also still theoretically have a home final. That is, if they get themselves a win over the Chiefs, or at least the Chiefs get themselves the win, and then the Brumbies get themselves the win here too. The two underdogs could find themselves facing off next week. Looking through at the lineup though for the Blues, it's going to be very hard for the Brumbies to beat this Blues side. Definitely with it taking place at Eden Park. They've got a very impressive record, having lost a playoff game up against an Australian side in New Zealand since about 1997 or somewhere around there. But Ofa, Tuangafasi, Ricky Riccatelli and Marcel Renata, they will be the front row. Sam Derry and Josh Berry, they will be the locking duo. No Patrick Tuipulotu due to his injury, means that he will be out for this week as well as the one next week too. If the Blues make their way forward. Akira Ioane, rumours of him going to Japan could become very evident next year, but he is there at 6 for now for the Blues. Could be his last home game that he does play for the Blues side. Dalton Papali at 7 and Hoskins Tutu slotting in as number 8, still chasing that record for the most Blues tries in an individual season. He's very close, although he's been a little bit quiet over the last couple of weeks. Finley Christie and Harry Plummer will be the 19 combo with AJ Lamb. And when you talk about players being quiet, Rieko Ioane has not scored a try for the Blues in over a year. So if there was ever a time to do it, it's probably either this game or next week if they do get there as well. Caleb Clark and Mark Talia out on the wings, and then Stephen Perafeta there at number 15 to close out this Blues starting lineup for the Brumbies in this contest. It is James Slipper, Billy Pollard and Alan Alalatoa. Then Darcy Swain and Tom Hooper will be the locking duo with Rob Valentini, him going up against Akira Ioane. It is going to be a good test for both of those individuals. Rory Scott as well as Charlie Cale will close out the loose forward trio. Ryan Lonergan and Noah Lolesio, big opportunity for him, seeing as Carter Gordon is now going to rugby league. Means that 10 jersey for the Wallabies is wide open, and Noah Lolesio at the moment does seem like that first choice option. Tamati Tua alongside Len Ikitau, a lot of power in the midfield for the Brumbies in this game, and then speed on the outside of Corey Toole, Andy Muirhead, and then also Tom Wright to close out their starting lineup. We have good morning, Hamish, from Brian. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. And knockout games are different. It's how you manage it, says Patrick. And also we get the hi everyone, says John. Kia ora, says Nori. Hi Hamish, says Jan Lu there. And let's go the Blues from Gizzy. We on it, says it was Explore Within in there as well. I thought there was a picture of Ozzy Osbourne in the picture, but it is not. Up the Brumbies. There's a replay of the semi-final 2022. And of course, in that semi-final, we did end up seeing the Blues advance through. And good morning, afternoon, evening all. And I'm not worried about the Canes. Chiefs take care of that. This game is the one I'm worried about, says Spider Mech. And that's the thing. Like, this one is actually, in terms of the biggest favourite and the biggest underdog, this is the scenario we find ourselves in for this game. Hurricanes versus Chiefs is supposed to be relatively close, and I feel like that's one that has a lot of people nervous. At least one New Zealand side, though, are going to be through to the final. We've got the asking about the weather report. At the moment, it does look dewy on the surface, which I believe is also another reason why the Hurricanes tomorrow opted to go for that 4:35 p.m. kickoff rather than the later one, although I don't think it's raining at Eden Park at the moment by the looks of it. I think it is just a cold evening at the moment. We have got the hello Roo from Cape Town, and thanks Kylie, says John. And there as well. But yeah, it doesn't look like much rain around, just a classic cold evening for a game of rugby, so handling might be a little bit rough for a start while the players do get themselves all warmed up and raring to go. But this is going to be an important game for both of these sides. Like I mentioned, the winner goes on to face either the Chiefs or the Hurricanes. Now, if no matter what, whoever wins this game, if the Chiefs are able to beat the Hurricanes, the side that wins this game will have the home final. So it's all riding on whether or not the Canes can get the job done tomorrow, for whether or not we do see another game taking place at Eden Park, or maybe even a GIO Stadium game could be around the corner as well. Looking through at the previous fixtures for these two sides. First of all, for the Blues, of course, they were able to beat the Chiefs in that final game of the regular season. That was actually the contest that the Chiefs scored late in, which stopped the bonus point for the Blues, which actually stopped them from being top qualifier. Because if they had been top qualifier, of course, last week they would have played the Rebels. The Hurricanes would have been playing the Fijian draw. Then for the quarterfinals, they were able to beat the draw comfortably. All of the all the quarterfinals that we did see, unfortunately, were very one-sided in the Super Rugby quarterfinals. To be fair, though, in the URC, it was a little bit the same. The top 4 went through, just like Super Rugby. But yeah, 36 points to 5, not exactly the scoreline that they were after. There for the Brumbies, they had their last game of the regular season. It was up against the Force, 24 points to 19, a pretty close game taking place at HBF Park. And then they were able to beat the Highlanders in what was the closest quarterfinal, 32 points to 16 in the end. The win going the way of the Brumbies. So we know how well they play at home. We know that away from home, they do struggle. These two sides actually playing each other earlier on in the season, and the Blues winning that game extremely comfortably. So that's the last thing, of course, that the Brumbies want, is a bad start in this contest up against what is a side that's found some very nice form as of late, heading towards the important games of the season. Kia ora whānau from here in Stockholm says it was there from Gold Export. Hey bro, let's go Blues, up the Blues. And I'm always okay when I see Hamish on the screen. And Chess Mana says John O'Taylor. And of course, they are going to be playing the early game tomorrow, 4:35 p.m. is when that one is kicking off. A lot of people confused at why we are seeing the early game taking place rather than a 7:05 game. But that is due to the fact that we have got the choice of what they want to do, because they were the top qualifier, the Hurricanes. I go and look at the Discord. One moment. We will have to go to it. 1 second. You made the chili halloumi pizza by the looks. So that looks like a lot of cheese on top, but I assume that's also the halloumi that's made it look a bit more bulky. Hopefully you did enjoy it. I believe you have a thing for Hamish RC, and also Up the Blues says Tui in there. But we will look through at the benches for this game, ladies and gentlemen, and looking at the way that it sits. Of course, the Blues, they've got plenty of tank power coming off this bench, whether that is Taufa Funaki, Ta'aval, Kurt Eklund. He's been scoring a lot of tries, actually scoring more than Ricky Riccatelli, who was in the starting lineup for them and at this matchup, and also Cole Forbes in some pretty good form, the youngster, over the last few weeks. Then for the Brumbies, I'll be honest, they've got some decent players off the bench, such as Nick Frost, such as Sifu Kautai. Jerome Brown's going to be handy, but I think that it's definitely going to be how they use these subs that is so important in this game. They cannot afford to put them on too early. They've got Slipper and they've got Alalatoa in the starting front row. Fanek and Kautai, of course, they're going to be handy, but they have to try and leave them as late as they can so that they're still fresh near the end of this contest, because I think that not only is it the start of the match that's going to be so important for the Brumbies, but it's the end. They cannot allow the Blues to run away like they have in a few of their more recent games. Blues by 30 plus. There's Spider Mick. And also we got the MI Predict for this game is Blues 21 and Brumbies 25. Oh, so you're saying a Brumbies win. And that's the thing. The Brumbies are in a position here where, based off recent form, they had to work extremely hard to get past the Highlanders. And the Highlanders in the second half maybe just didn't quite show up in the way that we did anticipate them to. But at the same time, I feel like there still has to be a lot of emphasis on the way that they were still able to get themselves a pretty decent win in that contest. Just looking at the odds for anyone wondering as well, the Blues are the favourite, like I mentioned, $1.16. They've actually gone down a little bit more, which means there's some late money coming on them. And I believe that is because, of course, of the power that they do offer in their team, and also the way that they've been able to play in that game up against the Chiefs, as well as the Drua. They've shut opposition out of a game. And I feel like that one up against the Chiefs became more substantial and more impressive when we saw the way that the Chiefs played up against the Reds, a side that weren't able to shut the Chiefs down in that same fashion. Good afternoon from Melbourne. Should be a Blues win tonight. It won't be a runaway score, though. Says Andrew Watts. And I was Grant, hope you're okay. I'm staying indoors. Gardening is for the birds. I like that saying, Ruth. Gardening is for the birds. And to be honest, it certainly is. I'm not the biggest gardener. I've gardened a couple times in my life, but I wouldn't recommend it to most people. And good choice, Ruth. No more digging, says Spider Mick. And there as well. And they are just talking about the fact that there are 4 teams left. They are very close to making their way out onto the field for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. I hate gardening, says Novmum. And also we were there. Good choice, Ruth. And no, eat meat, not veggies. And also we are good there. Blues versus Chiefs as the final. Oh, so that would be an Eden Park final as well, if that was to take place. See some loyal Brumbies supporters have come over the ditch for this contest. There we go. 28 years it's been since the Brumbies have won themselves in a playoff game up against the New Zealand side in New Zealand. What's the weather like, brother? Was thinking of taking over 22.5 first half, says Kingsman. I mean, the weather is a stock standard evening, so it's a bit chilly. There's a bit of dew on the surface, but there isn't rain. So I guess that's one big bonus for these two sides. They're just showing there, Cadron Neville actually going to be playing number 5 for this contest for the Brumbies. Was he? No, he wasn't originally there. It was Tom Hooper, so they've had to make a late change here for the Brumbies, I assume, due to injury, and no James Slipper in the starting lineup. Fun Nick is actually going to be there as the number 1. It seems to be a trend at the moment for Super Rugby Pacific that even if you announce a team on Wednesday, you're allowed to make many changes to it. And I don't know whether or not that's to do with who else they've got available. So Harry Vell is actually going to come off the bench rather than James Slipper. And Fun Nick. Oh. Okay, they're just talking about Tui Palotu being out, but I believe he is the only player for the Blues who will not be playing in this contest. I believe everyone else is match fit, and they will be ready to go for this matchup. Once again, though, looking through at this Blues side, it's going to be as follows. Ofa Toinga Fasi, Ricky Riccitelli, and also Marcel Renata there as the number 3. Sam Derry and Josh Berry will be the locking duo, with Akira Ioane, Dalton Papali, and Hoskins Satutu starting in as the loose forward trio. Finley Christie and Harry Plummer, they will be the 9-10. So Talfa Funaki has been in some pretty good form up till this stage. They have decided to take him out of there. It is extremely warm in this room, so we're gonna take a few clothes off, ladies and gentlemen. Just the one though, don't panic too much. It's going to be AJ Lamb and Rico Ioane there in the midfield combo. Like I mentioned, Rico Ioane, he has gone a very long time without being able to score himself a try in this contest. Caleb Clark there at number 11 with Mark Talia on the outside at 14. And then Stephen Petafeta as the number 15 in this matchup for the Brumbies. James Slipper, Billy Pollard, and Alan Alatoa with Darcy Swain and not Tom Hooper. It is Cadron Neville now who will be there as the number 5. Rob Valentini at number 6. I feel like he's a bit of an X factor in the starting lineup for the Brumbies. I should also mention Fun Nick actually starting as the number 1 rather than James Slipper, who has been taken out of the starting side due to injury. Rory Scott at 7 with Charlie Cale slotting in as the number 8. Lonergan and Noah Lolesio there as the 9-10 combo. Tama Titua and Len Ikatau in the midfield with Corey Toole, Andy Muirhead, and Tom Wright as the back 3. We have got there only if I'm a pirate digging for treasure chest, and a Brumby is on or is an outback horse, and Blues will have to tame that wild bronco. Says a roof there, and yeah, it's going to be all about starting this match well. I would say that's a strong Blues backline. Hooper a big loss, says David. Yeah, not even Tom Hooper in that starting lineup I think is going to hurt the Brumbies a little bit. But then saying that, Cadron Neville's had a very solid season at line-out time, so that is one of those bonuses that they've got. The last loss for the Blues, they've only lost 2 throughout the regular season. The first was up against the Hurricanes, who they are hoping to face again in the final to win that series between the two sides 2-1. The other game was up against the Crusaders. That almost got the Satyrs into the top 8, narrowly missing out in the end. So Dalton Babali is going to be the captain again after Tui Palotu has got that injury. Sam Derry, he scored 2 tries in the Super Rugby Pacific competition. I'll be honest, he could have had a lot more if he wasn't injured. He's been in some fantastic form throughout this year. He's won 16 lineouts for the side. Of course, lineouts are going to be such a important part. Hi, Aaron Rose says, Shall welcome in. While the game is not on, I'm going to home. I'm going to Haim a butter and pie. Going to Haim a butter in pie. I have no idea what that means, but hopefully you enjoy it, Spider-Mick. Is it a ham and butter pie? Is that what he's saying? And I am, bro. Brumbies have the second most semi-final appearances in Super Rugby history. They've had 13. They're asking the question, is it lucky for some or is it unlucky for this Brumbies outfit? They've been relatively strong throughout this season, but the game now, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway for the semi-final in Super Rugby Pacific, and it's going to be nicely claimed by the Brumbies inside of their 22. That Brumbies midfield combo is solid. It is. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is Tamati Tua's discipline as of late. He's been a little bit more susceptible to giving away penalties. Nicely taken under the high ball from Harry Plummer, who was running onto it after the kick from inside of the Brumbies 22. Finley Christie going off to the left-hand side, a little bit hesitant, working out what player he was going to find. And that's, thanks, Roof. Interesting. Blues will tame them. They sound in top form. Amish says Moa Hunters. Tuanga Fussy goes across to a Kirioani. Breaks through one tackle attempt of Corey Toole. Now Christie again goes to 2 over the top to Papali'i. I'll be honest, so far I've seen a couple half-efforted tackles from Corey Toole. It seems like he doesn't want to have to tackle the big forwards. He doesn't mind tackling the backs. Maybe trying to save some of that energy for later on in the contest. Nice run forward from Derry as the Blues move up to the 22 of the Brumbies. Ball is still there. Christie going across to Tuanga Fussy. He's had a fantastic season when it comes to the try scoring tallies. Rieko Ioane, not so much. He hasn't scored a single try for the Blues throughout this season. So 2-2 with a quick hands to Josh Berry. Now ball off to Marcel Renata. They're 10 metres out from the line at the moment for the Blues. No advantage against the Brumbies as of yet. Up to 12 phases for the home side. Kirioani, 5 metres out. It's going to be hard to defend early on. Here comes Papali'i, 2 metres out. Now searching for the ball. Here comes the penalty advantage. The 2-2 with the ball on the outside. Plummer with the quick hands. AJ Lamb gets the bounce pass, and that is already the first try in this contest. 15 phases in a row. And now they've got themselves the try. Oh, now Cat is back at the vet, blocked up again. Has to spend a few nights there. Says Novmum. We have got there my Fiji lineup against Samoa. Tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see how this Fijian side go, because they don't have a few of those international players from, I believe, the top 14. They are still waiting for the players to be able to return. But of course, they've got the Barbarians next weekend. Hoping to cover that one on the channel as well. But nice finish from AJ Lamb. It's just a wide cutout pass. So 2-2 saw him, and then Plummer finished the job with the pass out wide to Lamb. And the dream start to this match for the Blues. It can't get much better than that. Put in 15 phases together. Your opposition builds a little bit of confidence in their defence, and then you break through and get that early try. See what I've said? Brumbies got this. Says stay hunky. Now 30 seconds for Harry Plummer to line up this kick near the touchline. Not a sellout at Eden Park. Not even close by the looks of it. Quite a few empty stands in Auckland for a Friday night. Now, taken his time here, Harry Plummer, and he's missed it away to the left-hand side. So that is going to keep the score at 5-0 in favour of the Blues. Barbarians next week or the other week against Fiji, says Mirisiana. And like a hot knife through butter, come on the Blues, says Josh. And there as well. But AJ Lamb, the first try scorer of perhaps many for this Blues side throughout this contest. But that's the last start that the Brumbies were after. It reminded me very much, knocked backwards by Hoskins, a 2-2 off kickoff, not claiming it too cleanly. And now it's going to be put into touch by Harry Plummer. This will be about 15 metres out from the line. And the Brumbies now have got themselves another attacking chance here. But yeah, the big thing here is it's very similar to what we saw in the Chiefs versus Reds game. How the Chiefs came out absolutely firing. And for that whole first half, everything was sticking. But now, the Brumbies, they've overthrown the ball. Nicely claimed by Caleb Clark. They'll be about 15 metres out from the line though. But Rory Scott manages to get their hands on the ball. We have got the instead of commentating. Can you please put on the game? I want to watch it, but I can't. Well, I also can't show the game, or else I do get sued by Sansa and taken down for 3 months. But the options to be able to watch it, you've got, if you're in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport. If you're in Australia, it's on Stan. If you're in South Africa, I believe it's on Super Sport. And then there are a few other options depending on where you are in the world, but you can find them on the Super Rugby website. Up the Blues, says Tui. And also we've got their Blues versus Hurricanes final. And also kicks could make all the difference. And Hamish feels sad. Hamish Bro feels sad for New Zealand cricket team. Early exit in T20 World Cup. Their own worst enemies though, weren't they? So, like, as bad as you can feel for them, at the same time, if you're going to go into a competition with the arrogance of not needing a warm-up game because you think you'll be all right, even though you've only had 3 players playing in the last 2 months, It's their own fault. Evening, mate. I hope you're doing well. Go on Blues by 7, says Birdie V. Now, that one has gone over from the Brumbies. After that penalty, they will now get themselves those points back, 5 points to 3 now between these two sides. No matches will be held at Eden Park. What for? Because they're currently playing there for this game. Unless you're talking about like international contest maybe. And good luck with the blocked up cat. Nov mum, best of luck, says Ruth. Has Satutu done enough to be part of the starting Lucy's against England? I think they'll give him a crack. Oh, that's going to be a mistake made by Corey too. He was complaining to the ref rather than going back there to defend and almost ended up getting caught up. I think he's asking the sideline referee for the penalty now, saying he was played off the ball. But he had already dropped it at that point. 5 metres out from the line here. Brumbies are going to have themselves the opportunity to try and work out of their own area. Nicely claimed by Darcy Swain. He wasn't sure who to go to. Finds Lonergan in the end. Does get it into touch on top of the Blues dugout up there. Says Christopher Dixon there. Yeah, I think Tool's trying to say that he was dragged down afterwards, after dropping the ball. Hamish, other finals where? The other game's taking place at Sky Stadium, but depending on who wins that game will depend on where the final is taking place. That will be the penalty now in favour of the Blues. The Brumbies playing the man's arm. They've got the opportunity for 3 if they want it here. Now, all throughout the season, they have opted to go for the corner. What does Papali'i do here? Does he also go for the corner? Looks like they're going to. Now, I mentioned about it on the last game, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, but the Blues, they do play with a lot of, well, it's confidence / arrogance. They feel like anytime they're in the opposition 22 and they have a penalty, they can roll him all over the line. Now, that can help you because, of course, confidence is a wonderful thing, but if you don't score your tries, then you look at the amount of points that they're turning down and you may just say to yourself, was this the right decision? It looks like it's going to pay off here for the Blues, though. Ricky Riccatelli hanging on to this ball. Back of the rolling maul. And the Blues are over for their second try of this contest. The Brumbies rolling maul defence, not able to hold them out. I mentioned about it, the confidence, the arrogance. The Blues know how to get over that try line when they're that close to the try line. And they have done it yet again with Ricky Riccatelli. Up the Blues, says Tui. I'm impressed with your commentary, smooth as usual. Oh, damn, looking for 13 plus, says Mr. Orlin. And come on, the Brumbies, says stay hunky. But looks like it is. Riccatelli's, I want to say that's his 5th try now of the season. He's actually still behind Kurt Eklund for overall tries for the Blues Hookers, and he's had a lot more starts than Eklund. And come on, seriously, try. Yep, another try going for the Blues, and let's go the Blues, says Tui. And up to Brumbies, says Christopher Dixon. Is there a possibility that it might be a Blues vs Chiefs final? It could be, and if that was to happen, it would be a Blues home final with the Chiefs travelling to Eden Park. The Blues already 2 tries in the first 9 minutes. Wires at home this weekend, eh? I believe so. I think they're at Mount Smart, aren't they? Plummer lines up the kick, and that one has gone over. He slipped over in the process. Satutu gets a start against England. Where will Artie play? Will it be 7? In your opinion, who will be the starting 6, 7, and 8 against England? Well, it depends on injuries as well, of course, because it seems close enough that we can start predicting, but at the same time, we've seen players get injured. Like Tui Palotu last week, for instance, a lot of people felt he was going to get into the All Blacks, but now he has gone down. We could see a couple Blues players go down by the end of this game. Even it could be Satutu. So if everyone is match fit, you know, it's hard to tell with Razor. I feel like he will want to give a couple of those young guys the chance as well. Maybe have Savia. Like, it's crazy to say, but maybe you have him off the bench and you start Peter Lakai at 7 just to give him a bit more game time at that next level. But more than likely, I think with Razor, it's either going to be probably Frizzell, Savia, and Satutu, or the other option. This looks like Charlie Cale's injured. I talked about number 8's getting injured. Unfortunately for Charlie Cale, he is going to fall into that boat now. But it looks like he's going to be all right to continue this match. Taking a knock on the forearm. Why is match not held at Eden Parks then? Well, okay. So at the moment, the Blues qualified as second. So for them to have a home final, they have to rely on the Hurricanes to lose. If the Hurricanes win, though, Hurricanes, because they're top qualifier, means that they are going to be going head-to-head with the Blues or the Brumbies at Sky Stadium because they are the top qualifier, so they get to pick the location of said final. And, of course, they're going to pick their own stadium. But Ryan Lonergan, little pop pass up from Darcy Swain to Cadron Neville, a late injection into this side for the Brumbies across the front neck, who is the other player to come in late. Brumbies have got to score soon to stay in the fight, says John. Now currently sitting 45 metres out from the line. Rob Valentini runs straight at a Kiriwani up the Mighty Blues, says Patrick James. Now nice stepping from Tom Wright. What is your call on the Blues? The Bulls versus Leinster semi-final? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because Leinster up against Ulster did look very solid, and Benetton really brought it to the Bulls, but I think that the home field advantage is going to be enough for the Bulls to get the job done, even without Kane Moody and Kutli Arinsa, as both of them are out for that game, which is massive for the Bulls to not have those two. Looks like, once again, the penalty has been awarded to the Brumbies. Yeah, Papa Lee. Yeah, so he was complaining about it, Papa Lee, but as I've learnt, he complains about absolutely everything in this season. So he will be the one penalised, and it will be another opportunity for the Brumbies to add 3 more points from about 42 metres out. We have got their fast start. Rassi has lost most of his backline and midfield that we're expecting to start against Ireland. It will be tough, says Dilchan. Although, outside of Kutli Arinsa and Moody, I don't think he would have picked Lucanio Arm off form anyway. He's still got Dialende, Krill. He's got Pollard returning for that Irish series. So I think he'll be all right, Rassi. I don't think there'll be too many concerns for him at this point. That is going over, though. That's now going to make the score 12 points to 6 in favour of the Blues. Where's the crowd? Says Anoy. Yeah, it's not as much of a large crowd as I actually expected for this game, I'll be honest. I thought that, seeing as this could be the last game at Eden Park, they may have gotten closer to a sellout, but I guess Friday night, the one reason we're not seeing many people at the game. Also, Colby is a 50-50 call. Yeah, although I know that this is a crazy statement, but I think off the way that some of those other wingers are playing at the moment, you'd almost pick them over Colby anyway. Yes, Colby's got the experience, but I think Arinsa's impact that he's been able to bring, like, he'll be back for the Irish series, and I would probably play him on that wing or Moody, just because, like, they're looking towards that future as well, and Colby offers you that versatility, maybe even coming off the bench. Now sitting 20 metres out from the line. Now nice stepping from Finley Christie. He's managed to milk the advantage for the Blues here. They are 10 metres out from the line. Sam Derry gets that a little bit closer around the side of the breakdown. Here comes Caleb Clark. Kiriwani getting up and going. And now Marcel Renata, 1 metre out. Is it going to be Satutu? He has scored many tries throughout the season. Gives it off to Derry and he's over. Another try. The Blues are scoring for fun at the moment. Are you doing a video on Manu Samoa squad naming? Says Stone Cold. I mean, to be fair, I hadn't really thought too much about it. I know that Fiji announced their squad on June 6th, so we were a little bit late for that one. We have got there called the plumber. There's a leak in Brumbies defence and strong try from Derry. Yeah, he's been scoring quite well throughout the season. Like, he's got 3 tries to his name, but like I mentioned, if he hadn't got injured, I think that we would have seen him do a lot better. But Tutu, just that short ball. Derry there. And hi, says Michael. Welcome in. You keep him well on Papali and Kaltoas. A family dominating Super Rugby and NRL in first half. Over after 17 minutes. Jeez, says Kingsman trading cards. Yeah, we've seen a lot of tries already being scored in this game. And they don't look like they are slowing down too much here either. That one has gone over from Harry Plummer. Now making the score 19 points to 6 now. It's not great, is it? But yeah, I'm just looking there at 8 hours ago was when Samoa did announce their squad. I mean, we might look into it a little bit. And yes, says Michael, and Brumbies are just giving the ball away. And full-time score will be 68-69 for the Brumbies, says Stay Hunky. Now that ball's going to be claimed by Billy Pollard. We're only 15 minutes in, already 25 points scored throughout this game. The Brumbies are in a really tough spot here that if they concede another try, this game could be all over before it's even begun. Lonergan trying to keep them in this contest. Noel Alicio going across to Len Akatel. Quick hands to Charlie Cale, who's wrestled down by Caleb Clark. Back across to Billy Pollard. Tackled by Ricky Riccatelli. Both, says Michael. Still inside of the 22 here, the Brumbies, so it's not all lost as of yet. They're in a good position on the field. Now another big shot coming in on Tamati Tua. Lonergan across to Swain. Not making a huge amount of meters at the moment. The Blues doing very well with that rush defence, being able to shut this Brumbies backline down as soon as possible. Tom Wright, though, with a nice step and the spin, makes an extra 5 or so meters. Our thoughts on the Samoa squad? Seems a lot of players missing from the Rugby World Cup squad. Unfortunately, that is sadly the case of what happens with overseas contracts. A lot of those guys, I believe, have either picked up injuries from their overseas teams or they just weren't going to be available anymore. There's a lot of new names in there, which I feel like is a big bonus. But, yeah, it will be interesting to see how they go. And Dan Cole, who is now 40 plus, has been picked by Borthwick to play against the ABs. See, the oldest player to play Test Rugby since Perry Montgomery in the 2007 World Cup. I honestly couldn't tell you. I know that we've had a few old players scattered around, but, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. Our thoughts on the Samoa squad? Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? And Whanganui support. Let's go the Blues, says Akanesi. Brumbies hate the weather, never get used to it. Currently, the Brumbies coaching box does look pretty disappointed. Notes being taken flat out by the looks. He's got some lovely handwriting, whoever that bloke was. The most points the Blues have scored in the first 20 minutes in 2024. So their best start to a game is in a semi-final. And that is what we talked about near the start of this game, about peaking at the right time. And it does seem like they have possibly done that. Looks like Fun Nick is going to be getting some pitching up. Tuipulotu watching on for this game is not going to be able to play in this one. I believe he's not available for the next game either. They are also the best side for the second and third quarter of a game, the Blues. So the fact that they are going to be definitely speeding up throughout the next 40 minutes or so is not good news for the Brumbies, which is why they need a try and they need one very soon. First scrum, yeah, it is. First scrum of this contest. Of course, both sides have large scrums. The Brumbies, they are much better in the first quarter. They actually slow down as the match does wear on. That won't bode well in this semi-final. They have to get the points as quickly as possible. Pat Quates, 948 for the Blues compared to the 889 of the Brumbies. An extra 60 kgs. Here comes Charlie Cale off the back. Only a couple metres out. Finley Christie looking for the turnover, and he has managed to get it clean for the Blues. Brilliantly done by the Blues halfback. Now Caleb Clark off the Ofa Tuanga Fasi. They're only 10 metres out from their line. Patrick is out for 6 or 7 weeks. Says Stone Cold there. River's been quiet tonight, Hammy. I feel like you've never watched the game without criticising a ref, Spider-Mick. Anytime the Blues are doing well, of course, you say the referee's he's doing a great job. Anytime they get penalised, you say this referee must be biased against them. But, so far he hasn't really had to get involved too much. We've only seen a couple penalties throughout this game. Blues be looking good. Says Fluffy, that was going to be thrown in by the Brumbies. Rory Scott off the back, goes to Tamati Tua, chopped down by Dalton Papali'i. Now, Alan Araratoa, stolen by Caleb Clark, and the breakdown handling areas are sharp with these two semi-finalists. Says Mr. Orland. Now Christie goes back across to Ricky Riccatelli. Short ball to AJ Lamb. Look for the pass on the outside. Looked a little forward, but it's going to be cleaned up by Rico Ioane, chasing his first try in almost 400 days. But Pero Feta, he's broken the line. Couldn't link up with Mark Talia. Look for the offload back from the Blues. I think Christie was in an offside position when he kicked that one forward. Back into his team's hands. I think they're going back for the original knock-on against the Brumbies. That definitely makes it a little bit easier, but nice steal from Caleb Clark. The ball popped out, so he had to stay on his feet, and that is exactly what he was able to do. Ioane just getting that offload away to Stephen Perofeta. Couldn't find Mark Talia. Like Mills Muliaina said there, he was almost too quick for Talia, which is a bit of a weird statement to say, but it was true in that case. And was it a try? It was not a try, so you can blame the ref for that one, Spider Mick, seeing as you're probably going to anyway. Clark way offside, says David Parsons. Yeah, it was tight. It was very tight. They've just shown there the season attack. Blues have scored 77 tries. We have seen 58 tries coming from the Brumbies. Extra 400 carries for the Blues throughout this season, but they have now got themselves the scrum feed from just inside of the opposition 22. The Brumbies doing well? No. Like, they've done all right, minus the 3 tries they've conceded. Like, they've had some decent attack themselves, but Finley Christie now going off the back. Penalty advantage in favour of the Blues. That ball's coming out the back door, out wide to Caleb Clark. That's another try for the Blues. 4 in 20 minutes. That's quite hard to beat, isn't it? In a semi-final. Hey, Olanamish says, Marco, welcome in. Should Rico play wing for the ABs? Depends on what Razor wants to do, really. I mean, that has been an argument that a lot of people have made for a very long time. The fact that the man has gone over a year without scoring for the Blues would tell you that maybe it's time to try and switch something up a little bit. But nicely done by Perofeta to then clean that ball up and get it out wide to Caleb Clark. And yeah, 4th try now. This will be a bonus point if we were in the URC at the moment for the Blues, and they have only played a quarter of the game. If this continues, the Blues will bring up 100 points in a semi-final, which is absolutely ridiculous. But who knows? 7-0 has their Blues as Hurricanes final. Billy Proctor will win the AB. Surely he deserves it. He's been very good, Billy Proctor, for a long time. So I hope to see him there at 13. The question is, would Razor pick him ahead of Ioane at the moment based off current form? Just maybe, you know. And that one's hit the post. And that one's going to be bouncing back out. Will you be collaborating with the Rugby Itch this year? I'd enjoy both your team comparisons over the last 18 months. Pretty good stuff. Keep up the good work. We actually filmed the one for Wales yesterday. Or it might have been the day before. No, it was yesterday. Last night at about 3 a.m. I think was when I finished that session. So, yeah, it's coming this year like it has for the last couple. So Tutu decides he wants to kick that ball. He's aiming for that car. It's on the sideline. Brumbies show some ticket. Pathetic effort so far, says David. I believe this last year for Akira to play in New Zealand, Hammy. Yeah, he's heading to Japan by the sounds of it. Blues seem to be able to score off a win or on a win, says Scott. Now that ball's gone in. Perofeta or Perofeta. It's with a E. So Perofeta is how it is spelled. It's got 3 E's in it. Amati Tua this time dropping the ball for the Brumbies. This has not been a good start to the match for a side that, away from home, have not had the most impressive record. If this game was at GIO Stadium, who knows what the score would be sitting at. But, yeah, it's not looking great at the moment for the Brumbies. And there's going to need to be a massive comeback in the second half and also the second part of this first half. 17 minutes. Horacio is always cooking. He's a great chef, Horacio Erasmus. 17 minutes left in this first half. So far, the scrum, it's actually 10th rated for the Blues throughout this competition. Deliver the heart back broken. Says Mr. Orland. I'd say Ioane will switch to Samo in 25. It's rumoured that he's going to go to Japan for 2025. I believe it's in November. In 2025, he's got the opportunity to play for Japan in the international side of things. Yeah, the seagull hangs around the rucks doing nothing. About time he took off. Too lazy, that guy, all the talent, but never wants to do the grunt work. Says Marco. And Brumbies second half comeback here, Hammy. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them at least put in a bit of a oomph in that second half, because in this first half they have put anything but an oomph out there on the park. Now, Finley Christie to feed this ball in. And it's looking pretty strong. At the moment, the heads were coming up, but the scrum stays down. Now, Plummer after Rico Ioane, tackled by Noah Lolicio. Would a seagull taste like a mutton bird? I couldn't tell you. I haven't eaten a seagull before. Our focus gradually shifting towards All Black selection in the Rugby Championship and Bledisloe Challenge. And Akira will end up playing for Japan. Eddie Jones will cap him up. After all, he was born in Japan, says Marco. Looked like a counter-arc coming from the Brumbies, and it has actually worked out for them. They've managed to get themselves the turnover. Ryan Lonergan gets it away to the big man, Fun Neck. I just got the All Blacks chasing the moon advertisement. Says Gareth from Welcome. That's a local takeaway shop. I don't think they do seagulls either. Oh, it's going to be a good tackle made from Andy Muir here. The only problem was he was tackling from the ground, which I don't think you're allowed to actually do. I think Ioane just played club in rugby, but Samoa for country. Or club in Japan, but play Samoa for country. Now kicked him behind Harry Plummer now. Looking for the 50-22. And, well done from Tom Wright to keep that ball alive. No. Referee says it was in touch. And that is going to be a 50-22 now for Harry Plummer, with the assist going to Tom Wright. Oh, yeah, no, that was close. Referee was pretty far away from that one. Like to see it in super slow-mo there, but it did look very close. Razor spoke of time played together in an interview I saw, given that both Geordie and Ioane, 12 and 13 for a while now, it would be hard for Proctor to find a place, don't you think? Although, talking about time played together, would you not maybe argue that time played together, Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor playing for the Hurricanes all throughout the season would count as time played together? Maybe not at international level, but at club rugby, those two have been working together for pretty much the whole season. Can't Samoa can't produce their own players then? Says Ivan, I mean, they do. They've just announced their squad, and it's looking pretty decent overall for the July internationals for the Samoans. I don't think the Brumbies can come back from here. It's like they're drifting all the way home. Now 5 metres out from the line, Christie with a short ball. Oh, Ioane, he was almost through, but he's dropped the ball. I really hope Proctor played. Does well. He reminds me of my favourite 13, Conrad Smith, Samoa nation that develops none and relies on New Zealand, Australia to provide players, says Marco. He's at 110 matches, Rico. He has been waiting for his 50th try for about 400 days. I wonder, is he going to ever get one again for the Blues, or is he going to forever be stuck on 49? Brumbies now, though, and claiming big-time lull, says Ivan. And another try coming up, just wait, says Novmum. The first half for the fruit burst at halftime. Oh, I do love me some fruit bursts. All Blacks versus Fiji American tour going to be epic, says Savanatha there. It'll be interesting to see how those sides match up in American. I feel like it should hopefully be a very entertaining game. Of course, Fiji going to be in action next week up against the Barbarians. No Lolicio. This one downfield. It's gone into touch. Hope the Brumbies get a converted try before half-time. Brumbies need a miracle now. No defence. Open field for the Blues, says Roof. And yeah, the clear and kick from Noel Alessio. Maybe not quite going as far downfield as he would have liked. Still going to be under a lot of pressure here. We will go like this. And we will go like that. A little bit of a loose pass from Hoskins to Tutu. But AJ Lamb manages to take it back. Now Sam Derry running it for Christie. Short ball to Renata. He has dropped that ball. Gives the opportunity for the Brumbies this time with the possession. Morning, Hamish. It seems we are set for a Auckland Blues vs Chiefs final. In what way is that the set final? The head office? Just out of curiosity, I know that Chiefs come into their next game as the underdog. They had one good game in recent form up against the Reds. So I'm curious at how that is the obvious final that we have got. And Bulls have no chance of winning against Leinster, especially with all their box out. From South Africa, says Charisse. Although saying that, they are at home, which is a big bonus. Another knock on from the Blues. That's 3 in a row that we're seeing from the home side. And have a few errors slowly creeping in. I heard that an Aussie side has never won a Super Rugby game with James Dolman as the ref, says Sphinx. That is impressive. Yeah, just a little knock on from Caleb Clark there. Larkham's interchange might be in trouble. And Bulls go very close. Altitude not easy, says Bhavani. Of course, Chiefs a Chiefy all the way. Says Ivan, Channel 15 on mute too with the Usos commentary of the games. Says Michael, so it is greatly appreciated. We're currently sitting 29.50 for anyone wondering about the time on the clock. Blues the best defender in the competition. It's hard for any team to penetrate, says Spider Mick. Go the Blues, says Johan. Currently down by the 18 points. Still 50 minutes to go in this game, though. That is the crazy thing. Normally when a side's down by 18, we're in the closing moments. Whereas in this case, they have still got time to be able to deal a couple more blows, although that's going to hurt them. That is going to be knocked, I think they'll see backwards by Tom Wright. So it is going to be play on now. Crowd not happy about it. Oh, James Dolman almost getting cleaned up by Rob Valentini. The halfway line now for the Brumbies. Looks like Lonergan. Going to send this one. Oh, good idea. Ruthie Pizza should calm the angry beast. And that's going to be knocked on again by Caleb Clark, who's taken a big knock from Cadron Neville. He stayed down here, Caleb Clark. It's going to be play on. Tom Wright goes across there. Noel Alessio to Tamati Tua. They move up to the 22. They do not have Clark in the back line. Oh no, he's back up now, Caleb Clark. You take a big knock. Fun Nick does well to gather that one for the Brumbies, who are now 20 metres out from the line. Cadron Neville, tackle low from Dalton Papali'i. Trying to pierce through the gap was Lena Cattell all the way blue, says Aman. Tom Wright, little grabber him on. Another knock on this time. Nope, Finley Christie's been allowed for that one to go backwards, I've said. Now, the Blues giving the ball straight back into the hand. They were only 10 metres out and they tried a little grubber. They said Mr. Beast was in Hamilton today. What do you reckon? I don't believe that's why would he visit that dump. I haven't heard anything about him being in New Zealand, to be fair, but he might be doing something in New Zealand. I'm not sure what it would be. I haven't had any seagull before, but plenty of them just fly around here every day. Says Ivan. And going to need luck on your side with this gap and margin, Big D. But now line out throw here for the Brumbies. And Munster beat the Bulls at Loftus. Virtually the Irish side playing for Leinster. Leinster by 15 plus points, says Charisse. That's going to be Clan Rory Scott. Across to Rob Valentini. Dolman missed 2 knock on, says David. Charlie Cale thought about the offload of Kiriwani losing his footing, so he does have to let that ball go. And the breakdown to Alatoa now. Wrestled down by AJ Lamb, who's showing some good physicality. Now Lonergan. Blues' Hurricanes final, says Linus Tube. Yeah, it's a possibility. And of course, if that was the case, it would be a Hurricanes home final. Now Noel Alessio trying to go through. Mark Talia, the man who makes the tackle. Now Lonergan going short side. Tamati Tua out to Corey Toole. I think his foot is in touch. Referees awarded it, but I think this one needs to have a little look here. It's a very quick decision. It's real tight on the touchline, which I would have thought would make you go TMO rather than blowing your whistle straight away for a try in that case. Come on, the Brumbies get a try. Right, sounds like he's in touch. Yeah, he's in touch, no try. I'm not sure why that was so frantically given. The pass was also close to forward, just to add a couple more insults to injury. Get out of here, man. Says Mr. Orland, how's it, brother? Yeah, Papa Leahy getting across to cut off Corey Toole. Good morning, Amish. Says Stuart Moore, welcome in. You are doing very well. Irish and Scottish will be bringing the games on. Our Bulls will have to get their horns ready. Says Ruth. 5 metres out from the line at the moment now. Time has been turned back on. Oh, that's going to be... Didn't go 5 metres. I think they said, or he actually didn't do it legitimately. He joined from the wrong place. They wanted the quick tap there. Rob Valentini, he's saying he was on the mark. Dolman says, no, you weren't. Line ref unsure, but sure. Says Mr. All-In and Talia for the All Blacks Sevens Olympic Gold Rush. Says Southern Atha there. Although we saw what happened with Caleb Clark when he chased the Sevens Olympic Gold. He actually missed out on the All Blacks for a good year and a bit because he couldn't get back into the team. But now Fun Neck, they've given away the advantage. 6 being told to get out of there. That's Akira Ioane. Valentini now. So he's going to go around the side. He's being told to use it. He's going to take it on himself. He will be just short of the try line. It's bounced out the back for Billy Pollard, who tries to crawl forward and will be just short again. Valentini lurking around the back. I feel like he has the best chance at the moment for the Brumbies to score this one a couple metres out. He's asking for it as well. Here comes Valentini trying to stay on his feet. That is close, and he has got the try there, Valentini. Referee is happy with that. Okay, I can hear more complaining from the Blues. They were saying get a camera under the ball to see that it wasn't grounded. I don't know about that technology. I don't think we're quite that far in rugby as of yet, but James Dolman said the tip of the ball was down for the Brumbies, so they have now scored themselves their first try of the contest. Yeah, Valentini just bulldozed his way forward. Yeah, that's a grounding, I believe. Let's go to keep with that. Thank you for your commentary, says Ivan. And also we have got there, nice one, Val. Yeah, it's a good try coming for Rob Valentini, who gets himself over for the first time in this matchup. Right. Important conversion here. And Blues vs Hurricanes final. Well done, the Brumbies. Says stay hunky. And yeah, they had to get back into it. And that might be the start of a little bit of their luck here. Oh, almost missing that one, Noah Lalicio, but it does sneak over. Now going to make the score. 37 minutes in. And it is going to be 24 points to 13. Oh, sorry, 14? 13. I believe it's 13. At the moment, yes, it is. That scoreboard is slightly wrong. They've got one too many points on the board for the Brumbies, but 11 points separating these two sides. Now that one's gone high. Nicely taken by Darcy Swain. It's going to be there now for Ryan Lonergan. Across to the right-hand side to Alan Alaratoa, who scored the try so far. So far we have seen a try for the following. Ricky Riccatelli got one. Sam Derry got one. We've also seen the try for AJ Lamb and Caleb Clark for the Blues. They have missed 2 conversions. And then for the Brumbies, we saw that try, Rob Valentini. Ride about Crusaders bias with Razor AB squad. Right. I assume that's worried about Crusader bias rather than ride, maybe. A big fan of Robbo Valentini. There's a Marco. They were looking for the turnover there. The Brumbies just inside of their own half defending. Tomorrow's game is a game must watch. And of course, taking place a little bit earlier, 4:35 New Zealand time. Now Christie across to Ricky Riccatelli. All over him at the moment. Alan Alatoa, good counter coming from the Brumbies, but they lost their footing. So that is going to be now the penalty going the way of the Blues. With 100 seconds remaining here, they could maybe look at a kick if they really wanted to. It is within kicking distance, and Papali'i says we will take on the shot to extend that lead to 14. As you're quick, nothing gets past your eagle eyes. Says Ruth there. Yeah, it was a legal counter ruck for a start, and then unfortunately it was Darcy Swain in the end who just flopped over the top. Ended up giving away the penalty for sealing off. Now, 2 penalties conceded by each of these sides. So actually a pretty low conceding half. So there might be a bit of an injury here for one of the Brumbies players. I know he looks like he's going to be all right. Might actually be the trainer who was out there, but he's got 20 seconds now, Harry Plummer, so he's going to try and use up as much of the remaining of the half as he can. Yes, are you worried about bias? Not really. To be honest, like, people are going to complain no matter how many Crusaders players are in the team. I feel like that's evident because there haven't been many seasons in the past. That's a fantastic kick from Plummer to get that one over and make it 27 points to 13. But yeah, people have complained in the past that there's been a lot of Crusaders in a lineup for the All Blacks. The fact that the Crusaders have done poorly this season, I don't think fully represents all of the players in their side. Like, I expect to see maybe 5 Crusaders at least making their way into that All Blacks team. And I know that that will annoy people because they'll be like, oh, they finished poorly. Why are they still having a few more players in there? We have got there. Thanks so much for your excellent commentary. Says John. Wake up, man. Says explore within. I don't know whether that's about the Crusaders situation or about just something randomly. Maybe the Brumbies, the fact that they did just concede another penalty, but that is going to be now halftime. So Tutu puts the ball into touch. And the Blues leading this game 27 points to 13 heading into the second half. AB's locks to Pavai. Scott Barrett, if he's okay. Too not sure if he's injured or not. Even if he's not, isn't battle hardened and will be rusty. Sad. I'm sad our locking stocks are thin at the moment, says Marco. And yeah, they are very thin for the ABs. What's Brodie Retallick's status? Is he a possibility of coming back to New Zealand to play for the ABs, or is he overseas still and not eligible? They have to get more Blues players in this round. A great first half by the Blues, says Jan Lou. And also, hi Hamish, thanks once again, says Bruce. No worries at all. I do appreciate you being here, of course. We've got another game happening just around the corner. That is going to be the one tomorrow afternoon between the Hurricanes and the Chiefs. That game is going to be electric. We are going to be covering it from the kickoff all the way through. And also the 2 URC semi-finals. Sam Derry and Fabian Holland. Chances of the AB's call-up and Blues locks are good, says John. Yeah, although now they've lost Tui Pelotu as well for that All Blacks series. It must be the worst refereeing I've seen in ages, says Gary. Yeah, there's been some interesting ones. The fact that we've only had 4 penalties throughout that first half, I guess some people would be quite thrilled about, rather than having it be quite stop-start. But yeah, I've seen quite a few knock-ons that haven't really been called throughout this contest. Apparently, Brodie's in New Zealand. It must be at his mum and dad's place. I wonder if they can send him an SOS, get him to play the 2 games versus England. That's it finished, says Marco. But they out Hammy. Out means they are not up to it. Well, it'll be the day of heaps of Crusaders in. Bad mistake. I raise it not like Foster, says Spider-Mick. I love the confidence. The one bad season that the Crusaders have, everyone decides that every player from the Crusaders is now bad. How many times have we seen great New Zealand sides put together that haven't made quarterfinals or haven't made semi-finals in Super Rugby, yet people don't complain when those players get selected for the All Blacks? So it just seems like a bit of hypocrisy there when it comes to the Crusaders. But I get it. They're the side that everyone likes to hate because they've had to hate them for so long because they kept on beating their favourite sides for so long as well. Yes, as always, favourite the Blues, says Sheriff. And I also never thought locks were ever important. But we at least have worries right now. But it's the least of our worries right now, says Mr. Orlin. Living at mum and dad's come under eligibility rules, says Fluffy. Then that means I'm eligible for the ABs. Do have more than enough, says Mr. Orlin. But yeah, I'll be honest, like, we're going to be doing the video next week of us predicting our All Blacks lineup or our All Blacks squad. And the locks are the part that I'm a little bit stuck on at the moment, just because of the amount of injuries we've had recently. Like, the amount of players I've had to cross off on my list because of players going down with injuries. You know, you look at some of the props and that was the same. I saw a social media post from Will Jordan. He's looking good for a comeback, says Joe. I know that he's supposed to be rugby championship bound, Will Jordan, or maybe November internationals. I'm not sure about those matches up against England, though. Like, I feel like that's something they wouldn't want to risk, because if he ends up with a more serious injury or the same injury again or a different one, Hamish Fraby's like, yeah, I might have to get a bit more height about me. I don't think I've quite got the height that would be required for All Blacks lock in position, but we'll get some stats for this first half, ladies and gentlemen. Could someone like a Sam Derry perhaps be in the conversation as a possibility? I know that Lachlan McWannell is another one that has been talked about. And be right back. Hamish, adios. Says, stay hunky. And yeah, come on, people. Please let's go. Hit that like button. He's rocking the planet. Are you going to do other country lineup, says Katzenell? I mean, this is more of just the squad. Like, we are going to be doing our regular Springbok lineup predictions and also the All Blacks lineup predictions, but they will probably be the main two. Maybe Fiji as well. Mara Toji, that big George Martin, will be licking their lips at these young locks. Will put through. And they'll probably destroy our lineouts and disrupt our mauls, etc. And come on the Blues grey half, says Tim there as well. But looking through at some of the stats for this first half, the unofficial ones from the Super Rugby website, the Blues have had 232 metres gained compared to the Brumbies, who have had 106. Defenders beaten. The advantage is in favour of the Blues, 9-5. Blues playing with 19 players on the field, says Gary in there as well. Yeah, although nothing could really be denied about that first try. Could have 15 phases put back-to-back by the Blues to finish the job in the corner of AJ Lamb. And just from straight away, it looked like the Blues were on their A-game. I'll be honest, the Brumbies haven't quite looked like they were up for the task throughout that first half. They had some good moments. Rob Bellatini, in particular, looking like he really wants this, but needs to be backed up by the rest of the side. We need to see more from someone like a Corey Toole, who I mentioned early on looked like he was straying away from having to make tackles, maybe trying to save himself for later on in the contest. 5 missed tackles for the Blues and 79 tackles made. Some pretty good stats there. 74 tackles made by the Brumbies and 9 missed tackles. And then the penalty count is only sitting 2-2 throughout this first half. Possession actually pretty even between these two sides as well. In terms of player stats, most running metres for the Blues is Stephen Petafeta with 62. And then also 17 metres is the most that we have seen. Mentioning Springboks and Fiji, but not Argentina or France. I feel like that's fair enough. I don't have enough knowledge in terms of Argentina or France, so it doesn't make sense to try and guess who they're going to be going with. It's even a guess for South Africa and Fiji, but we'd be going, if we did Argentina and France, that's two target audiences that we don't actually really have in our geographical statistics. So it doesn't really make sense for us to talk about sides that a majority of our audience don't actually care about per se. I know that you're one of the people who care about them, but a lot of people don't. We have got there 9 tackles made by Dalton Papali'i, as well as a turnover. Also, the 9 tackles made by Ricky Riccatelli. Most tackles made by any player, though, throughout that first half was Rory Scott, having 11, and also getting himself 3 turnovers won. So him and Valentini, I think, have been working very well. I'm a little bit worried about whether or not there is enough coming from the backline. Like Tom Wright, we saw him touch the ball once, pretty much throughout that half, maybe twice if he was lucky. 2 converted tries. Don't count the Brumbies out until he is world's top winger at the moment, I reckon, says Savanafa. And then Brumbies are out. It will be the Chiefs and the Blues in the final, says Daniel Cox. I'm 23 and still with mum and dad, rant free, says Spider Mick. But yeah, second half just around the corner. Looking through at the benches in this contest, the Blues, they've got Kurt Eklund, Josh Fusitua and Angus Ta'aval as their front row replacements. Thompson at 19 with Choate as the number 20. And then off the bench, Taufa Funaki, Corey Evans and Cole Forbes will be the remaining forward and back replacements for the Brumbies. They've got Bowen. They have got Vela at 17. That is due to Van Neck actually starting in this matchup. Sifu Kautai there as the number 18. Nick Frost and Jerome Brown as 19 and 20 with Luke Reimer as the 21. So they've actually gone with that 6-2 split, and that might actually benefit the Brumbies later on in the contest if they can try and manage that fitness, not get pretty much spent on their feet throughout the second half. Goddard and Satsford, the 2 other back replacements for the Brumbies. I love you, Kimmy, says a Michael there. and Blues are out, or Brumbies are out of it. It will be the Chiefs Blues final. Says Daniel Cox. A lot of people confident on the Chiefs at the moment. And I have to say, off that last performance up against the Reds, it was great for them to finally get that form. Because the last 3 or 4 weeks before that, they've looked, I would say, not exactly convincing, but the right time of the season for them to start playing good rugby does seem to be now. Interested to see how Razor molds the winning combination. Plenty of young and talented players out there. Do you have a horse in the race in the semis? Not really. For myself, I wouldn't have a horse if it was a 12-team semi-final. We could come back, you never know, says Bruce Head. We have the best players here in New Zealand to pick from. Don't need overseas. They have to play some game here to be picked, says Spider Mick. Yeah, although injuries are starting to play a little bit of a factor in terms of the amount of guys that are no longer available for All Black selection. Let's go the Blues, says Tui. And there as well. But currently they've got a bit of a light show going at Eden Park. Which is interesting. I feel like this crowd, like I mentioned, it's not as big as I expected for an Eden Park. Possibly last game of the season. Yes, it's a Friday night, though. That might be what hurts it a little bit. What do the Brumbies have to do in order to get level in the second half? More tackles, better offense, set pieces. Says Cats. Now, I mean, the handling wasn't the best for the Brumbies at times throughout that first half. I don't think they want to have to make more tackles. That's going to be absolutely brutal on them. But they've got that 6-2 split, so that might benefit them a little bit. I think it's more of the case of just being a bit more clinical. We saw when they were 5 metres out or 10 metres out from the Blues line, Tom Wright went with that little grubber in behind, and it just gave the possession back to Finley Christie, who in that moment almost did knock it on. But at the same time, like, you got to attack when you're within the opposition 22. You can't rely on a little grubber that might bounce the right way that you want it to. I suppose it's wet and raining, says Marco. No, it's not too bad. Like, it's dewy, but there's no rain around at the moment. And Blues for me, hopefully the Blues can keep the lead, says Grace, and lock it in. Locks needed for the All Blacks. Blackadder, Whitelock, and some retired guys back, says Ruth there. Do let me know your end score for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. 40 points scored throughout this first half. I'll be honest, a little bit more high scoring than a lot of people were expecting. If you don't support any current Super Rugby team, it makes it a lot easier for the commentary. Because if I end up supporting anyone, then people get very annoyed. I've found this out in the past, so we're good at the moment. And my gout says otherwise, Hamish. Says Mr. All-In. Yeah, it's going to be a good second half. And I feel like the Brumbies, I talked about how they had to have a good start and a good finish. The Blues, they are the most effective team when it comes to the second period of a game and the third period, the 20-minute gaps that are taking place. Whoa, that's see-through. Now, I should mention it's a little pointer thing. It's got a little hand on it. It's not pulling the finger, though. Don't know why I have it, but it extends, and it's kind of like, whoa. There we go. If you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to leave a like on the live stream. There you go, a little thumb. Leave it a like while you can. It's not a thumb, though. Well, that was a thumb, but it wasn't pointing straight upwards. I'll put that down. Oops, just dropped something. Second half, though. I feel like the Brumbies may think about an early change. But then at the same time, you can't really afford to go too early. I feel like there's a few Blues players who have been doing very well in this game. Dalton Papali'i, he has been impressive. Christie's actually been not too shabby in that number 9 jersey either. Clark's been active. AJ Lamb was physical. Stephen Petafetta, he's had the most running meters out of any player throughout that first half. So, yeah, I'm not too sure whether or not the Blues will be too confident in making an early switch or whether they want to keep these same players out there on the field for as long as possible. And as I made last week, I spoke about who I thought should be or should make the box squad. Diamani not being included disappointed me, although he had already confirmed that he was going to France. So I feel like that might be why Rassi decided to leave him out. Plus, he, like, even before he got confirmed for going overseas, like, he's been denied so many opportunities to go into those training camps. So I feel like he's in that position of at least he's going overseas to get some sort of, like, decent wage now as well. Because if he's not going to get the chance for the box, which was what he wanted, like, at least he's going to make a little bit of money in France. But yeah, it was disappointing not to see him there. I feel like they're more sold on Evan Ruiz as well as maybe You know, Gomedi was the guy who got called in after Colby got taken out. And diesel prices in your country must be expensive, eh? Says the Blues, Nate. And if the Brumbies can score first, put some pressure on. Says Beastly Ways. They're just showing the advertisement for State of Origin. June 26th. Of course, game 1, a little bit more one-sided than a lot of people wanted. The Brumbies score an early converted try, could get interesting. Says John, yeah, at the end of the day, 2 converted tries could change this game completely. We could find ourselves at an even playing field between these two sides. I think the concerning thing is, though, if the Blues get themselves an early try, then this game might be all but over. Okay, I think the Brumbies coach is just saying that the Blues have entered their 22 way too easily. Blues go to sleep, they will win by 1 point. Says Mr. All-In. My petrol 95, very dear, $3.12. Says Spider-Mick, and let's go the Blues. Says Tui. And there as well. They're just talking about the breakdown for the Blues, how they were a little bit sloppy recently at Dangerous AB's wingers for this year, says Southern Ether. Looks like no changes have been made in the starting lineup for the Blues in this contest. $3 a litre, says Fluffy. And Brumbies coming back roaring second half, says Roof there as well. They're just talking about the fact that Tom Hooper, he was unwell. James Slipper, he wasn't able to get through the warm-up with his calf injury, they have just said. A couple changes late for the Brumbies. We are back underway. Second half now, the Brumbies kicking off from left to right, like they've said, to keep their season alive. My back line for Wales, Morne van den Berg, Sasha, Osea, Edward van der Merwe, Der Linde, Kriel, Mapimpi, Villi, or Juan Horn. Agree or disagree? Well, we actually have a video that will be coming out in a couple of days of myself and Rugby Itch doing our normal Springbok predictions. I've got a few similarities to yourself. Beastly Ways has got the membership as well. Thank you very much for hitting that membership button. It's going to be kicked into touch by the Blues early on in the second half. Brumbies now with the chance. Try and throw this one in, nicely taken by Billy Pollard. Now back across to the left-hand side to Tom Wright. Any try scored by players with a lot of tries in their career? I mean, Ricky Riccatelli, how many career tries has he got? He's got a few, doesn't he? For the Canes as well as for the Blues. Who else has scored? I mean, Clark scored. AJ Lamb doesn't have that many. That's going to be a penalty advantage against Josh Berry. And they will go back now for the original penalty. I think that's actually up against Hoskins and Tutu for not rolling away in the breakdown. Just left his hand on it, they've said. That's why Satutu was penalised. Now Nololisio looking for the corner, does manage to get it out. It's just a good attack and run as well from the Brumbies on that halfway line. And yeah, we can see it there. Satutu was just hanging around in that breakdown where he shouldn't have been. And pass on my greetings to Malema. Season accuracy, 87% in their game up against the Blues. It was only 80 for their line out. Nicely claimed by Rory Scott, tackled by Marcel Renata. Now Lonergan. Across to Rob Valentini. Now again, Lonergan. On across to the big man, Fun Neck. Brumbies, they need another try and they need one soon. They want to get back into the contest. Good attack and run from Len Ekitau. Good acceleration, but he's stopped by AJ Lamb and Ioane. Now Neville. Across the right-hand side here. Tackle made by Kira Ioane on Rob Valentini. It's good defence from the Blues Brumbies have broken through it once. Can they break through it again? Counter-ruck coming from this Blues side. Looks like it's going to be another penalty advantage in favour of the Brumbies. Currently do have the advantage. Noah Alessio tries a little chip and bine. See that once again. It just seems to be that the Brumbies, as soon as they either think they've got the advantage or they can see a little opportunity, they look to put the boot to ball, and that ends up costing them. I feel like this one may be no different here. They don't start getting it slightly right. Only 36 minutes remaining in this one. Looks like the Brumbies may be considering the 3 points. How's the game so far, says Master Mel? It's been a relatively fast-paced one between the two sides. It actually looks like the Brumbies are opting to go for the corner rather than the 3 here. And so what's happening, bro, says Dewey. So the Blues haven't had the best start to the second half at the moment. We had a few stoppages as well, of course, which is why we were just waiting for that one to go into touch. But now, line out throw here for Billy Pollard. And also, hello, Mr. Avish, says Master Mel. Welcome in. Pollard here to throw this one 10 metres out from the line, the Brumbies. And nicely taken by Swain, going short side. Valentini sells the dummy. Dragged down by Satutu again. Having to work hard just out from their line at the moment here, the Blues. How many phases was the longest one this season? I think they got up to about 28 in one of the games. I think it was the Chiefs who got there. Or at least it might have been maybe up against the Chiefs, but someone got to about 28, late 20s for the season. A ballsy decision to turn down the 3. So here's Fluffy. Yeah, I feel like that's because they know that they're chasing this game now. Fun Neck gets a little bit closer to the try line. Rory Scott leaves it alone for Rob Valentini. Being lined up by Akira Ioane, and Ricky Riccatelli manages to chop him down around the side of the breakdown. They get within a few metres now here, the Brumbies. They've got numbers on the left-hand side. That is close. And James Dolman's going to have a look at this one. We've been robbed the past few years by the Blues. Let's hope today we might Brumbies get the dub. We need the ref to turn into Team Brumbies and help us out. Will Plummett's misconversions be costly? I mean, like, they might hurt a little bit, but at the end of the day, I feel like the Blues will still be able to do enough outside of a few points. Right. Okay, so Billy Pollard saying it was all momentum, mate. And referee's saying we just want to check to see whether or not it was a double movement. Now, if your knee goes down, you're allowed one movement, which I believe is that one there. So I think if that ball's down, that might be a try. Has he been stopped initially? Or is that... Did he propel? He might have propelled a little bit. Just a little bit from that second angle. Says that it's going to be no try. Double movement. Okay, it's going to be the penalty now in favour of the Brumbies for offside. If man out the gate says explore within. And surely the Blues fans won't be mad if the ref awards us a couple of howlers. Says Master Mal. Here comes Rob Valentini throwing himself at the line again. That ball's bounced out the side. It's gone backwards, and I believe that is going to be taken by the Blues. I think it's Marcel Renata who's got in there to turn that ball over. Let's go, says Master Mal. One very close to the touchline. Well claimed by Andy Muir. Counter-attacking chance. If they kick this here, the Brumbies, they would be their own worst enemy. Tom Wright decides not to pass it, so instead just runs straight at Ricky Riccatelli. Alpha Neck again. Goodbye. Kiriwani. Charlie Kale again. The position there, 40 metres out from the line here, the Brumbies. Noel Alessio. And across to Caden Neville. And let's go the Blues. Says it Tui there. Going high from Noel Alessio. Jason after this one. Christie's going to take it well. Finds his offload to Clark, but Andy Muirhead, player who was a standout in last week's game up against the Highlanders, get one of his rare touches of the possession. I will have to support the Brumbies brothers, the Hurricanes, says Master Mel. And we're going to sleep Owl, says Blues Nate. So they're going to go for downfield here again, the Blues. 47 minutes in. At the moment, nicely taken by Andy Muirhead. Chasing that one was Stephen Pettifett already. Breaking another tackle there, Andy Muirhead. Let's go the Brumbies. I'll even support the Chiefs if they win anyone but these damn Blues. There's Master Mal now. Tom Wright passing off to the left-hand side. Kicked him behind from Len Ekitau. Looks like it's going to be well covered by Finley Christie. He's close to the touchline. Offloads it in. Stolen by Ekitau. And he's wrestled out by the Blues. But that was almost a little bit of panic coming from Finley Christie inside of the 22 Sky Blues, New South Wales Blues, Auckland Blues. I want all the Blues to get pumped. And also Blues all the way says Tui. And Blues all the way says Fred there as well. But yeah, throwing that one back in was Finley Christie, hoping to find the hands of one of his Blues teammates. Instead found the hands of Len Ekitau. It's now going to be 5 metres out. Kick Finley Christie off, put Funaki on. Says Blues Nate. Gap is good, they've said. Now ready to throw this ball in. Nicely claimed by Hoskins Satutu. Now Kiriwani using some good size and power to move up to 10 metres out from the line. Finley Christie looking for the touchline. Does avoid the hands of Darcy Swain. And does manage to get that ball into touch again. And Blues says Sefulu. And Blues all the way says Grace. Finley Christie has made 4 tackles today at 100% they have just shown on the screen. By no means the leading tackler for the Blues in this game, but he has made 100% of them. Looks like Nick Frost is now onto the field. That is for Caden Neville. A line out throw, nicely claimed by Darcy Swain. Lonergan, little chip in behind again from Noel Alessio. Gives it straight back to the Blues. Eventually, the Brumbies have to use their brains here and realise that tactic's not working. They've tried it 3 times. Every time it's failed. And every time it's given the Blues the possession back in a game that you can't afford to not have your hands on the ball. Funaki over Christie has given Ian Foster choosing over Cam Roigard at the World Cup vibes, says Marco. And this Blues team couldn't even beat the Satyrs. How are they in the semi? Says Master Mel. And up the mighty Blues, says Patrick. But yeah, the chip in behind from the Brumbies does not work out. Harry Plummer read it like a book and just stood there ready for it to go in behind. And Bro Satyrs are long gone, bro. Says Dewey, and 3rd times it's failed, yes, but it will work on the 17th attempt. It's that kind of optimism we like to see, isn't it? Now Corey Tall out wide. Please tell me he's not going to kick it. 25 metres out. Lonergan cross to Alan Araratoa. Taken by his opposite in the scrum off Toinga Fasa. We've seen a real rarity when it comes to the amount of scrums we've had throughout this game. Really not seeing as many as we normally would. Now back across. Big shot on Rob Valentini. And let's go the Blues, says Tui. Now back across, flat ball. Fun Nick was almost through, but it's going to be the knock on. It came off the head of the Blues player. And they will go back for the scrum again. Tui who? Says Fred Matthews. And also, who do you think will be in the final? Well, if I say who I think, you're going to argue with it. Because I honestly think that Blues Hurricanes is set up to be a really good final. Because they've won one game against each other throughout this season. And they're now in the position now that could be the decider that brings a new champion to Super Rugby for the first time in a long time. Now that the Crusaders aren't there. So, you know, I think that a decent chance of Blues versus Hurricanes. That would be a Wellington game as well. That's sporting Blues from Brizzy, says Gavin P. And let's go. Says Tui there. Had to feed the cats, they're hungry, says Ruth. The Blues already set, bro. Mateys. Too slow, says Tui. Now 29 minutes remaining. Ball's going to be fed in again for the Blues. In fact, no, we're going to have a scrum reset. I think I jinxed it by saying we hadn't had many scrums straight away now. Alan Alatoa getting to go head-to-head with Ofa Toanga Fasi. So some blood is coming out of the ear of Alan Alatoa. That is normal, though. Tell him, Hamish, he wants it. Come on. Brizzy Town, kia ora from Gizzy Town. Says Explore. Second half position, though. 72% at the moment for the Brumbies. Territory in the second half, 98% for the Brumbies. So it has been anything but smooth sailing for this Blues side in the second 40 minutes. Well, the second 12 at the moment. Blues deliberately threw that game away. Blues going to smash the Satyrs by a whooping, says Spider Mech. And yep, it'll be a Blues Canes final, no doubt about it. That's going to be the scrum penalty. They'll go on the way of the Blues. And Blues have it all their way, says Master Mel. Aim for Origin Game 2, says Southern Natha. And Brumbies living off scrap, says Master Mel. And hit that like button, fam. That is first scrum penalty, I think. We've seen why hasn't this ref sent some Blues players off? Well, we've only had 3 penalties, I think, against the Blues throughout this game. And I think there's only like 4 or 5 against the Brumbies too. It's actually been quite a low penalised game, I guess you could say. The penalty did go the way of this Blues side. Charlie Cale, he is off. Jerome Brown is on now for this Brumbies side. It looks like Funnick will make his way from the field, and that is for Harry Vella, who was the late inclusion into the side after the James Slipper warm-up injury. Dosa Blue, says JMS. Ricky Riccatelli. To throw this one, I don't reckon that Blues versus Hurricanes or Chiefs will be a good game. But I hope the Blues win this, says Grace. Yeah, they're in a good position at the moment. One more try, I would say, would almost seal the deal. Christie going across to Akiri Ioane. Right again to Ofa Tuangafasi. Christie. Short side to Hoskins Tutu. So we haven't seen too many prop runs so far for the Blues, whereas we normally do get to see quite a bit of Ofa Tuangafasi having a crack at the line. Perhaps this could be the chance, or is that him down in back play? At the moment, I'm trying to work out who that is. Yeah, it is Ofa Tuangafasi who's down. In 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they could lose Numia as well as Tuangafasi in those propping jerseys. Bit loose from the Brumbies. They are inside of their own in-goal area. Passed across. Corey Toole has to get rid of it. Almost ends up hitting the bloke on the sideline. The medic. Looks like Tuangafasi's decided he's going to join back in, and it's a knock-on from Plummer, which now gives the advantage for the Brumbies. Don't rule out the Chiefs, says Duncan. Yeah, I'm definitely not underestimating them. But, yeah, in terms of who I think could go through to the final, I'm just worried that the Chiefs, from their recent form, they've played 5 decent, they've had 5 games, and they've played one of them extremely well, which, of course, was that one up against the Reds, but they're peaking at the right time, which is a great bit of news for the Chiefs. And we have got there, Chiefs says the Brumbies, says a Master Mel, and Hurricanes blowing up the storm. But yeah, the backline was looking good here for the Brumbies, getting those offloads going. And also wherever they come on the Brumbies, says Johannes as well, but eventually knocked on by Tamati Tua. Still 25 minutes left. Tuangafasi has stayed down for a little bit longer. Okay, by the sounds of it, they have already replaced Ofa Tuangafasi here. They have decided it is not worth the risk of him ending up injured from this game. Just showing tomorrow, of course, 4:35 p.m. is when that one is going to be taking place. Tamidi Dua, you butterfinger, says Marco. Seems a bit one-sided here, says Simran. Yeah, unless the Brumbies can get another try soon, I think it's going to end up definitely going the way of that Blues side. And it's Brumbucks, not the Bum Fluffs. No, sorry, Bum, says Explore Within. Now, 25 minutes left, and Akira Ioane also going to be making his way from the field here for the Blues. I believe that will be for Adrian Choate. Has ended up replacing him. Sounds like the Blues trying to fire themselves up at scrum time. They won the most recent scrum penalty, which I believe was the only one that we have seen throughout this matchup. Atolfa Funaki also on the field for Christie. In live stream, only really the kind of Sky Sports Super Rugby website. Also, we have a few other options. It's going to be the advantage now in favour of the Blues. Here comes Stephen Perofeta. Thought about going to Mark Delia, but once again, he avoids him. Is there something going on between those two? Maybe a bit of a feud. I think Delia's having a chat with him now as well, saying, do you not like me or something? Why have you not passed me the ball? You know, in the URC this weekend, we certainly are. Both games we are going to be doing on the channel. We've seen Scott Robinson in the crowd tonight. I have not, no. Not at this stage. I don't think they've shown him. 2003 Blues Resurrection, says Sathanatha. And also go the Brumbies, says amazing product. Yeah, as well. Yeah. Scrums won by penalty, 40% for the Blues. Crusaders are second on that list with 33. Hurricanes on 22%. Be kind. If off says, I have no idea who you're, like, are you saying that to me, Explorer, or are you saying it to other people in the chat? I've been very confused about your last 3 messages at who you're actually targeting. Are the highlights worth watching? First half's been good. Second half's been a stalemate. I don't think anyone's got any points so far throughout the second half. Going to be overthrown, well claimed by AJ Lamb, though, who is the ball. It is now the Blues. And we're just waiting for that scrum. Little chip behind from Talfa Funaki, which was a waste, and he's now ended up with the penalty going against his side. Hey, mate, who was that in front? Rookie. Yeah, offside in front of the kick. Although, to be fair, when Funaki takes it back and kicks it over his head that way, like, you're always going to be a little bit early if he said that he's going to kick the ball. If the Rumbucks win, I'll do a backflip off the Sky Tower. Says Sylvie, that's a pretty high backflip. Are you like going to, I would hope that health and safety involves one of those harnesses, because you can't actually do that off the Sky Tower, I think. They let you do that big drop thing. But yeah, it's just the miscommunication. Talfa Funaki took it out the back and decided to face it backwards. Talia was not well positioned. He could have cut back instead of staying out wide and made easy defense. That's going over the top again. I think that's a knock-on from Luke Raymer. Looks like it's going to be play on, though, and the Brumbies have conceded possession to the Blues. Funaki now. Across to Josh Fusitua. AJ Lamb in behind. Nice backline movement coming for the Blues. Mark Delia, one of his first carries of the game, gets back up to his feet as he wasn't held and is able to attack once more for this Blues side. Talfa Funaki going back across there to Josh Fusitua. He's at a little bit high by Sifu Kautai. Plummer runs it flat. Gives it off now to Talfa Funaki, who they've shut down pretty quickly. Funaki trying to do that stupid Lima Sapawanga backwards kick, says Marco. Now moving up into the 22 for the Blues here, Marcel Renata. Not a mile off at the moment here for the Blues. Clark gets them within 10. Funaki quickly recycled, goes away to Adrian Choate. The crowd starting to get fired up. This is a big opportunity. Tom Wright ripped it away. Satutu will score it, though. And he gets it between the posts. Wright did all the hard work of getting that ball out of the hands of the Blues. And then Satutu, right place, right time, gets the big reward of being able to score. I think they're just checking this one by the sounds of it. He has now got 12 tries for this season. Funaki playing well, no extra step like Christie to speed the game for the Blues. Try never to wager. Took Blues minus 12.5. Anyone think that holds up? Thanks, says Jonathan. I mean, that try will help them big time. But yeah, well done from Tom Wright to rip that ball away, and then Satutu, it just pops up to him. And not worth it, matey. Brumbies losing, says Tui. And there as well, but Satutu getting over the try line again. Hell yes, he's choked the woke. And that one pretty much should do it now for the Blues. Okay, they've just said there that Doug Howlett is the player who had 12 throughout a season, so he has actually tied that the way that it currently sits. To wait and see whether or not can become a reality. Hamish to support the underdogs, the Blues versus Chiefs final. Although the Blues aren't the underdog in this game, the Brumbies are. So it would be a Brumbies Chiefs final that you are after the head office. You would also be a great commentator at the horse track funny, says Duncan Miller. I've been told that quite a bit. That in an auctioneer as well, selling a house. 2 layers block the pipes, says Ruth. So more changes are being made here. Ricky Riccatelli is now off the field. Going to be kicked off long by the Brumbies. 21 points difference. Brumbies are the dark horse, says stay hunky. I've been told to use it. Tolfa Funaki will roll this ball back. Come down Ivan Rickenay, not even. Says Blues Nate. Clark chasing after that. Nicely taken by Tom Wright. Really good chance. Oh, a little bit of a handling error there. And here comes the Blues out the way, Aussies. He's doing a sterling job with his commentary. And Doug Howlett, Munster bred legend, Irish taught him how to play what an Irishman would say. And New Zealanders Rock Wright says, Jonathan Manson, the Blues have looked very strong in this game. Little kick him on from Andy Muirhead. So maybe he was taken down, but it looks like it's going to be play on just for now. Downfield from Stephen Pitafetta. It does manage to get it into touch on round about the 45 metres out from the line. Yeah, the Blues says Ivan there. 18 minutes remaining in this contest. There is still one Super Rugby semi-final that will be taking place. And that one, of course, is taking place tomorrow, 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time. You asked me to support my theory about the Chiefs being the underdogs. Now you change your tune. Well, you said that you like to support the underdogs. So the reason I said about the Brumbies being the underdogs is because they are also underdogs. So if you're backing 2 underdogs in a competition, of course, that would be Chiefs Brumbies. If you clarified that you were backing the underdog of the New Zealand sides, then I would have gone, okay. What's the point now, says Dewey? Yeah, it's a bit one-sided at the moment. I like turtles, says JC Hurricane. Turtles are friendly little things unless they get angry. Have you seen a snapping turtle? You don't want to put anything near them, I can tell you that. 17 and a half minutes left now, though. Head office, you are entitled for your opinions, says Stay Hunky, and Dougie Howlett, beautiful player, says Ruth. Now another scrum feed this time. It will be the Brumbies feed into this one. They are just showing the tickets for All Blacks versus England, taking place on the 6th of July, and also the 13th of July. Yes, Hamish, yes. Okay, so you're backing the underdogs of New Zealand sides. In that case of the Blues Chiefs, and that would be a Blues home final at Eden Park if that was the case. So to the man score, says Ruth. Now, like I've said, 17 minutes left in the first of the 2 semi-finals. The next one, Hurricanes versus Chiefs, taking place tomorrow. Scoreboard is wrong. It's 34 versus 13. That just means that the scoreboard has not updated yet, as I have no control over said scoreboard. That's going to be nicely taken by the Brumbies into attack. Now bouncing awkwardly. So the pass is going on the outside, out wide to Corey Tall. He's got a bit of space to work with, tries to grab it, kicks it straight into touch. They haven't learnt their lesson. They still have decided they want to kick it every single time, the Brumbies, that they get a good attack going. And I'm taking Sun to that game. New Zealand versus England in Auckland. I can't wait. Hope we can catch some English players for a photo or whatever post-game. Says Marco. And how come mine says 34-13? That is because that is the correct score. Listening from England, how big is the crowd? Is the stadium full? Not even close. I'd say that they've probably got about maybe 40% attendance for this game at Eden Park. They've got the 2 stands down each end that have no one in them at the moment, and the middle stands aren't that full either. Thanks for our thought was 34-13, sleep time Brumbies, says Tui. Now the Brumbies in possession at the moment. It's going to be a loose ball. It has knocked backwards, they have said. No matter what I say, Hamish, you'll speak against my previous prediction that it will be a Blues versus Chiefs final, says the head office. You didn't have to clarify why you felt it was, that's the thing. You said that you were back in the New Zealand underdogs, so now that we've got the clarification, rather than all underdogs, because the Brumbies, like I said, are underdogs in this game. But we don't need to have an argument about it. 10 metres out from the line. And that's going to be the knock on this time coming from the Brumbies, which now leaves them with 15 minutes left. And the Blues are now going to have themselves another scrum. And this will use up another minute or so. Oh, yeah, don't cross a turtle who hasn't had his pizza. And Kung Fu Turtles says Roof there. And bloody pity the final won't be in the South Island this year, says Duncan. You know, both South Island sides knocked out in the quarters, which, well, one of them got knocked out in the quarter. The other didn't even make it to the quarter. And the Crusaders, they said the numbers in the crowd. What's happening, says Joe Webby. It's just not as popular to go to the rugby anymore in New Zealand. Like evening games in winter as well. Like they're probably sitting maybe 10 degrees Celsius at the moment. I honestly did think they'd get a bigger crowd for this game though, seeing as it's a semi-final and it could be the Blues' last home game for the season. And overdogs, underdogs. I like a photo of Maro Itoje or Jamie George. And sort of Dan Cole and Joe Marler. Who do you think will win tomorrow? Hurricanes versus Chiefs. I'm backing the Canes to win that one, but I can also see the Chiefs causing the upset. I mean, it's going to come down to whether or not the Hurricanes can mitigate Damian McKenzie. Because when he's allowed to play freely, that normally makes it very difficult to beat the Chiefs. And in that last game up against the Reds, he was just able to flow wherever he wanted out there on the field. Looks like another New Zealand final again, says K Popsicle. And Rugby's had enough. They want to fly back, says Tui. But yeah, it looks like New Zealand final. How many in attendance? They haven't said. But like I said, probably about 40-50% of the stands are full at the moment. Oh, okay. Dalton Pavalier is making his way from the field. That is for an HIA. So I believe Akira Ioane actually will make his way back out onto the field. He would have thought his night was done. But if he fails his HIA, I believe Dalton wouldn't actually be available for the final next week. But Thompson actually the man who makes his way on rather than Akira Ioane. I like Cossins Satutu's sister on TikTok shaking her butt and acting, says Marco. Okay, see, I didn't even know he had a sister. Hoskins Satutu. Goddard is on the field for Ryan Lonergan. Funaki has been told to kick this one high. As the cost of tickets putting people off from going a little bit, but also, like, unless you're really committed to your rugby, if it's going to be a cold evening, you know, by the time you get home, it's like 9:30, and I know that doesn't sound too bad, but normally in winter, you know, it's dark by about 6 o'clock, so you're just sitting in the stands in the freezing cold. Watching, nice ball to Nick Frost. Wanted that next pass, but he didn't actually have the man in support. But Goddard now going off to the left-hand side. Passed out wide to Tom Wright. And they have got their chance 5 metres out from the line now. Sifu Kaltai. The Austin's sister on TikTok. I wonder if she's embarrassed or if he's embarrassed of that. Giving me a bad name, says Marco around the side now, though. 3 metres out. Under penalty advantage, trying to stop them from going forward was the youngster Thompson. But the Bulldogs are going to the NRL if you want to have a bet, says Duncan Miller. That's close for Valentini. He almost had a second of the contest. Again, just short of the try line for the Brumbies. Out wide. Here comes Nola Lucio. Puts in the fend. Passes one more to Andy Muirhead. And he's going to be just short of the line again. Brilliant defense from Rieko Ioane. Had to try his absolute best not to get his hands on that ball. Or else he would have ended up in a lot of trouble. That is close again. And they've got the try this time, the Brumbies. Still got 11 minutes to play here. You're very likeable. I'm subscribing, says JC Hurricanes. Thank you very much for being here. Of course, we're going to be back tomorrow. All fair in love and war, says the head office. You pronounce Funaki like chocolates, says Ivan. And Marco, she's my ex, says Ivan. And go Blues versus Chiefs final, says the head office. And Raymer says Blues, Nate. But yeah, it seems like already a few of those guys off the bench have had a bit of an impact. Harrison Goddard for one. Looks like he's been able to speed it up a little bit more. You've got Luke Raymer now out there on the field as well. Enough said, I'm out. Mean chat, Gizzy love all day. Says explore within. And Hurricanes going to smash it. Call it now, says Roof. Right, if the Brumbies get this kick over, they're back within 2 converted tries of a draw. Surely not. Surely the Blues have got enough in their tank to stop that from happening, don't they? But he has to get this kick over for that to become a reality. And they've still got 10 minutes to work. I should also mention, the Blues, they scored 4 tries in the first 20 minutes, which theoretically means the Brumbies do have enough time to score 2 and 10. And Chiefs have nothing on the Canes. Canes beat the Chiefs twice. There's Daryl. Ooh, get 3 free wicked wings using code WINGS at KFC. There you go. Love a few wings myself. Up the Blues. Says JC Hurricane impacts onto benches hurting us. Says Blues Nate. It's going to be kicked off long now from Stephen Perofeta. Clark goes up. Oh, he's been taken in the air. Hasn't he? Yeah, it's a penalty for Caleb Clark. And this is actually going to put them in the perfect position here, the Blues, to be able to get themselves some points that will then put them ahead by 17 rather than 14. No yellow A ref, all good, it's just a semi. Says Mr. Orlin. Like I've just said, that's the last thing the Brumbies wanted, because not only is that going to use up another minute, but also that is going to give the lead back to this Blue side by that 17-point margin. It wasn't really in a position to be able to take that one, Nick Frost. That should have been a yellow card. Yeah, it was pretty bad taking him out in the air. Didn't have much of an eye for the ball. Okay, James Dolman has heard word from the TMO. He said that this is worth more than a penalty. Teams 3 times in a season. A bit unco on Caleb's part. Says Fluffy, and also we got there go the semis, or go the Kiwi Super Rugby and NASCAR Infinity Series. Shane Van Gisbergen and the Warriors. Look at penalty on video. Says Jonathan there. Yeah, 9 minutes left. And this one has now been stopped because they do want to go to the TMO, which does sound like the TMO has felt it should be a little bit more serious than just the penalty. And to be fair, they are pretty right. And in that regard, all card coming up. Says Nov Mum. Yeah, Caleb Clark taken out in the air. Hits the ground very hard. Okay, it sounds like it's going to be a yellow card against Nick Frost. I mean, Uso could have been out for the final. Says Mr. Orlin. Okay, it's the yellow card of Nick Frost. His day will be done, and his Super Rugby competition is probably going to be done too. With only the 9 minutes remaining in the Brumbies, they will now go down by 17. Hang on. Wow, okay. The Blues have decided to go for the corner to remove all doubt. Why are they doing that? Like, I get it if they score, right? But if they don't score and the Brumbies win themselves a penalty, go up the field, can get a try, converted, this to me just seems like a strange decision for the Blues. Yes, they've had a great rolling ball, and yes, they might score off this, but at the same time, they've just lost that ball. Oh, no, they've managed to just regather the bit. That could have been a massive mistake coming there from the Blues. In fact, it is, but Sassford knocks it on for the Brumbies. There were 2 chances there for the Brumbies to get the possession back, but both times the mistake made from the Brumbies, which gives the Blues the possession back. Go the Blues, says Tiliofa, rubbing salt into the wound. Arrogance by the Blues, says Joe Webby. Little grubber behind coming from Harry Plummer. Nicely claimed by Andy Muirhead. And they are now in possession here for the Brumbies. The turnover is good. Hoskins Satutu passes it across. Almost dropped there from Thompson. In fact, it was. And now the Brumbies, they've gone from a side who could have been 17 down to sitting in a position where they have now 8 minutes to try and score 2 converted tries. And it looks like there's an injury for Darcy Swain here as well. And nothing coming off that. And go Brumbies 3 tries in 8 minutes. Kaboom. Says Marco there as well. Looks like he's bleeding a little bit here, Darcy Swain. I'm not too sure what the contact was. It caused the cut. But yeah, interesting choice from the Blues, I'll be honest. It seems like one that should have just been straightforward. Kick it at the post. Up by 17 with about 7 minutes to go. you're not losing a game from there. But 14 points down at the moment, the Brumbies, and they have got themselves that penalty. Or the knock-on, sorry. It looks like Darcy Swain will have to make his way from the field due to blood. Caleb Clark, awesome. Oh, and this is an interesting one for Darcy Swain because they don't have Nick Frost, who can't come back out onto the field. So it's actually going to be Caden Neville. Does make his way back on. And Brumbies physio needs a physio. Blues can afford to take chances. This game is done and dusted. Bye-bye, Brumbies. Says Charisse. Kaboom, who's that comedian? Says stay hunky and fly with those wings. Caleb Clark, awesome. Says Ruby, he's had a very busy game throughout this one. Caleb Clark. Big props and respect for Vern Cotter and Paul Tito. Says a Blues Nate. And sleep time Aussie. Looks like Hurricanes and Blues in the final. Says Daryl there. That ball's going to be fed in. Going down in the front row. Too much movement, they have said. Paul Tito, wear the mullet at Oos. Says Marco. Got ourselves another reset here. Ta'aval felt like it could have been a penalty in favour of the Blues, but I think that ball just came straight out of the tunnel. Blues is Chief, says Linus Tube. And yes, Clark has had a better season this year. And time to sleep Brumbies, says Daniel Cox. If the Chiefs beat the Blues in the final, they will avenge the Manawa versus Blues Wahine result. And up 2, says Jason. Well, we're just watching a bit of rugby, Jason. How about yourself? Good game. At least the Brumbies are giving the Blues a good game, says Charlie. Yeah, currently, the 14 points difference, but I honestly do feel like there is a chance for the Brumbies to score maybe one more in this contest. Hopefully, Caleb Clark misses All Black selection. Says Jacob, that's going to be off the back there. Jerome Brown looking for his offload, gets it away to Goddard. They're still inside of their 22 at the moment. It's going to be a hard one to be able to work their way out of it. Paul Tito, Finley's dad. He looks like the type to go to the shop to get some milk. Says Marco, it looks like the Chiefs going to beat the Blues in the final by a margin above 10. Says Linus. One's going to be kicked into touch by Harrison Goddard. Oh, okay. Dalton Papali'i has failed his HIA, which means he is very much in doubt for next week. They've already lost Patrick Tuipulotu for next week as well. Starting to lose a few more of those players. Here the Blues. Guys, watch this. Brumbies 3 tries for a final 5 minutes. Put your mortgage on that. Which team you support? We are impartial. And these games, stand to the commentary, bro. Go the Blues, says Jaden. Now the Blues in position currently with 5 minutes left. Eklund making a couple more. 40 metres out. That was a rough pass from Funaki. And the ball is loose. Well cleaned up by Corey Tall, but brilliant fight shown from Tolfa Funaki, who manages to get that turnover back for his side. No way the Chiefs will beat the Canes. It's going to be a close game. Like, in terms of the odds, they've almost got them as a pick-em game with both sides having a great opportunity of getting the win. Caleb Clark now passes on the outside to Hoskins Tutu. Away to AJ Lamb, who's up to 20 metres out from the line now. Caleb Clark round the side of the breakdown. Tackled by Rob Valentini. Oh, big shot coming in on Kurt Eklund. Funaki again. Goes short to Clark. Don't pay mortgage, still fam liability, says Ivan. Injuries, that's rugby, suck it up, says Fluffy. And there, start of Super Rugby season, pick Chiefs or the Canes final. Said of semi-final, shake my head, says Blues Nate. The Brumbies, they've actually been able to take that ball back again, although they've got a lot of ground that they have to make up. They're only 10 metres out from their line. Cross kick from Tom Wright. Boy, his kicking's been awful today. That's gone into touch. Corey Tall unable to get onto it. Is Akira's injury okay? It does seem that way. I'm playing tomorrow, Hamish, says Daniel Cox. Well, hopefully you go all right. Let's go the Blues, says Dewey, and also try don't close it out, says Mr. Hall. And also up the mighty Hurricanes, says Daryl. But yeah, that kick from Tom Wright once again. He's gone from last week up against the Highlanders. Everything was working for him. This game, nothing really has gone right. I can't think of too much that he's done well throughout the semi-final, and it's heavily been costing the Brumbies. There are multiple players who fall into that category, though. for their side. When was the last time the Super Rugby final at Eden Park or any? It's been a little while. A Super Rugby Trans-Tasman final was at Eden Park, but I don't know whether or not people count that as a Super Rugby final per se. Back across to Josh Fusitua. Funaki, Derry, quick hands out wide to Adrian Choate. 3 minutes left on the clock. The Blues trying to seal the deal with one last try. Bolatuta Avau. He doesn't get to stretch out for it. Now, Josh Beattie wanted it, and it's a no clear release there. I think the Brumbies almost have to take this one quickly. Funaki doesn't want to give it up. And they've taken it quickly there. Andy Muirhead kicking downfield. I think he's looking for a 50-22, which he's not going to be a mile off getting. But now Harry Plummer would have time to be able to kick that one towards the touchdown. What's the stand out for failed HIA? Well, I learnt from that Chiefs game that apparently a failed HIA doesn't actually mean that much, because I think Atino Nanasatoro went off for an HIA. I don't think he passed it, and then he's now playing this weekend. So it doesn't mean he's not going to be playing in the final. There's just a chance that he is missing. And good evening from Hamish. Blues hard out. Checking in from Brisbane. Hope you are well, mate. Here's James. You too. 2 minutes remaining in this contest. Of course, Kane's playing the Chiefs tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be an electric one. And then 2 URC semi-finals to follow in those ones as well. It's the Blues front rows who have stepped up the games this season. You stop these lads. Offer. There's a Blues, Nate. That's going to be the knock-on from Kurt Eklund, which now gives another minute or so into the scrum for the Brumbies. Blues need to play better than this on finals week. Can't afford to make these mistakes, says Tui. Yeah, it will be interesting to know whether or not they will be at home for that final. Of course, for anyone who doesn't know the Blues, after they win this game, which at the moment does seem like a certainty with only 60 seconds to go, the Blues will either be playing in Wellington up against the Hurricanes in the final, or if the Chiefs, the underdogs in that game between Hurricanes and Chiefs, win, then there will actually be a Chiefs-Blues final at Eden Park. Last final was between Crusaders and Blues at Eden Park was in 2022. Says Daniel Cox needed Nepo to move on, but Carl to move on, and for Angus Tarville to move on before some better props came around. Others are always been decent. Says Marco there. Now big push from the Blues at scrum time. Brumbies get the ball out the back door. Satsford. They've only got 40 seconds left now, but the Brumbies, they wouldn't mind being within 7 for this contest. Would make a decent effort of it. Strong art. Sean Brumbies, strong game, my Tasman brothers. That's going to be well handled by Luke Raymer. Jerome Brown now around the side of the breakdown. 20 seconds left now in this contest. Strong art, Sean. It didn't say he failed because the game finished, says Stone Cold. And there's one now back across Noah Lalicio, going to Luke Raymer. Now Goddard, another penalty. Going the way of the Brumbies. They wanted to take it quickly, but it looks like someone's holding that ball in. It was Sam Derry, strategic, to slow it down a little bit more. Is it that cold? People aren't coming out these days, says Katzenell. Well, it's more so the inconvenience of, like, the later night game. And I know that sounds weird. That's going to be the knock-on. How have they missed that? That is as clear as day as a knock-on can be. That one's a knock-on. They've got the second one. No, they haven't. They've said that it was a knock-on by the Blues instead. But that is still going to be the end of the game. And the Blues will be making it through to the Super Rugby Pacific 2024 final. Now the big question is, are they playing the Chiefs or are they playing the Canes for next season or next week's decider? Blues will win the final versus the Chiefs. Is on Wayne. Thank you, Hamish. Great stuff. I'll try to get up early for tomorrow's game, says Brian. And good game, the Blues, says Yako. And there as well. And the Canes, it's all on you. Just got to win 5K. Thank you for the commentary. Much appreciated. I'm definitely subbing. Cheers. Says JC Hurricane. And we do thank you all very much for being here for this contest. Soul Stealing Harlequins at Countdown Who's, says Marco. And time to book ticket back to Aussie, URC. We are still doing the URC, of course, tomorrow. Don't panic. And time to book ticket back to Aussie, says Tui. And also Blues all the way to the finals, says Aman. And there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Like I mentioned, the Blues, they are victorious in this game. Brumbies a better second half effort, it did seem. But I believe that it was just too many early on for the Blues ended up costing this Brumbies side. So for the try scorers, we saw Ricky Riccatelli get one. We saw Sam Darry score. We saw Hoskins Satutu score. We saw Caleb Clark, AJ Lamb, and I believe that was all the tries for the Blues throughout this game. Harry Plummer had a decent day off the kicking team. I believe he missed 2 kicks in total. But other than that, did do very well for the Brumbies. They were able to score themselves a couple tries in this matchup. Just nowhere near enough, though, throughout the game. Rob Valentini was able to score himself 1. We also saw that late try scored for the Brumbies side. I'm just quickly going to make sure I say the right player so that we know that we didn't mess it up. But the player who scored it in the end, it's loading. It's going to take its time. It was Luke Raymer. There it is. I was looking through at the starting lineup going, no one scored out of those guys. All Kiwi final awesome. Says Ed Smith. And there as well, Frosty Nick, Swaying Darcy, and Kiwi Rugby Power. And also the Blues Chief says Tui. And there as well, one of the teams is going to make half Chief and Hurricanes, so go the Canes. Says Joe Weaver, great commentary. Amish says Charisse. And watch this, Brumbies score 3 tries now, even though the game is finished. Says Marco. And also Erica, their nightmare from the Ponies. And thanks Broganite. Let's go the Blues all the way. So yeah, that first game tomorrow that is going to be taking place will be at 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time. We are going to be covering that one on the channel. We're actually starting 15 minutes early to go through all of the technicalities of that contest. And then also the URC. We are going to be covering the 2 semi-finals. Bulls versus Leinster at 2 a.m. New Zealand time. And then Munster versus Glasgow that has taken place at 5 a.m. New Zealand time. Is this game live tonight? This one has just finished. The game between the Chiefs and the Hurricanes taking place tomorrow at 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all for the next one.